Welcome to the 36th episode of the Daft Previews podcast. I am excited. I am aroused. I'm not alone today. The Mad Dog Luke is back from his bouts with COVID-like symptoms, which turned out not to be COVID. Luke, welcome back, brother.
How are we? How are you feeling?
I'm fucking better than you, that's for sure.
Yeah, battling COVID-like symptoms. I think it's worse than COVID, the COVID-like symptoms.
Well, you've had COVID, right? So you can...
Yeah, I had it back in December. And now since then I had tonsillitis and bronchitis. So I know there's people who disagree with me, but give me COVID every day of the week. Like, it was much, much better to put up with. So, but we're getting through it. We're working through it one day at a time.
Well, the good thing is, being that sick, you had no excuse to go out. So you had a good opportunity to sit down, watch all the games, dissect it.
Yeah, watching football a whole round sober. Like, obviously I'll watch some of it, but usually you'll go out and have some beers and beer goggles will come on and you'll miss some things. So it was actually good to watch 8 games of football, lay on the lounge, nothing. Even some women's football was chucked in there. I watched a lot.
That product has really improved this year, actually. I did watch a bit of it last year. This year it's pretty good.
Year on year, it's gone through the roof. Like, it's incredible. So yeah, watched a lot of football. So very interesting round of football, I'd say. There was, from a betting point, I went 4-4. The big frustrating one for me was the Melbourne bet. Melbourne minus 5.5, I believe I got at the Met. I've never seen a team look so incredible in the first 20 minutes and look like they're going to put 50 on a team. But not like the other team got better, but they just stopped playing and they just were awful for the next 60 minutes.
Cue in the rack stuff.
And the fact it went to Golden Point just blew my mind. Like, Latrell could not kick a goal from the sideline to save his life. Not even close.
Yeah.
And then goes 40 meters out, field goal. See you later. Like, it was crazy game to watch. Doing that, I don't know what that was. Hulk Hogan. But then the kickoff, goes. The dropout doesn't go 10 meters.
Then the bounce.
The bounce and went 10 meters from the bounce. And then they went down. Like, it was just an insane game.
It was awful.
That killed me. The Raiders on Saturday night against Cowboys surprised me, but then I wasn't really in that to begin with, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And then, on Sunday's games...
Oh, the Tigers, mate. Fuck.
The Tigers, I thought would show up at least, but they just... when you get them at 8.5 and then the line goes into 4.5, 3.5 because Ponga's ruled out, and you're thinking, here we go, got the Tigers 8.5 start here. The lines have all moved in your favour. They like I said at the start of the season, they put out their full strength team and that looked pretty average. This is the same team, so
mate, they got blown off like it was a fake taxi or a casting couch. Like, it was.
I couldn't understand what they were doing the whole time, and now it's come out they were out. Roberts was playing the pokies the night before. And the last team that happened to, and what happened with their coach?
Only Ben Outwaker could save us.
Yeah.
So, that was good. I was very disappointed in the Tigers. A lot of fellow Discord members were as well. Unfortunately, they may have listened to us because we both backed the Tigers last week. So,
also, another bullshit one. I had over 38.5 in the Titans Warriors game. There was 28 points scored in the first half. 34. I had over 48 and it was 34 scored in the first half.
Yeah.
So over 48.5. There was 34 points scored with the try on half time, which shouldn't have been a try. I don't know how they call that ground. Pushed it into a player. But take it, right? 18-6, 34, only need 3 tries. There was 1 try in the second half. In the half where, no one could tackle, no one could score in the second half. It was, what the fuck was that about?
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy, man. If there's the games, like the current trend for this season, back the unders.
Yeah.
Because the rule changes have slowed down the game. When there was constant six agains, you could cop 6 agains from your 10 meters all the way up the field. You can get a couple of them because the defense is just retreating nonstop.
Yeah.
Now that they have the penalty, it's a little break. Then the defense is set, and then it's a standard set from there. You don't really get a 6 again after that unless you get a great play. So it's slowed down. So the unders are a good play. And whenever the unders are on, the underdogs to cover is usually a good bet. I think I saw a picture of it today on Facebook that this year is the lowest margin of victory they've had in for ages.
Yeah, it is. I think
average margin.
a lot of it also is just the gap between the top and the bottom's closed up. Whether we've only seen a couple games, it's early days, but Penrith and Melbourne, for example, yes, they're winning, but like that Melbourne team last season, that's 50-0. Like they would put 50 on South. They did last year from memory as well.
They did.
Penrith against the Dragons. I know they're missing Cleary, but they for 20 minutes, basically, 2 parts of the game, they were up against 12 men with sin bins, and they only won by 4 points. Those games last year, if there's a sin bin, especially the 6 again rule.
They're gone.
The game's done. Like you can't win.
Yeah.
So it's good to watch.
No one's flexing right now.
No
good team is flexing. And I guess one thing to be wary of, something I don't like, but then I don't get involved in the discussion, is when people start claiming who's going to win. Right now, I think that's a waste of time. Yes, Manly are terrible. Roosters are starting off slow. Melbourne are starting off slower than you'd like, but still winning games. But that doesn't guarantee Penrith are going all the way. Like,
no.
Penrith aren't necessarily flying either. And yes, Cleary's out. But does Cleary hit the ground running, or does he do what 9 out of 10 players do and takes a couple reps before he finds his feet? So I think it's too early to react. Again, I don't really like futures anyway, but I think it's a shit conversation to guarantee somebody's going to win the whole competition right now, because what's the fucking point of the next 23 rounds or whatever it is? So
exactly.
Not a big fan of that. But you may see I'm wearing this basketball jersey right now. I've got a game to head to. So let's get straight into these bets, shall we? Kicking things off. Thursday evening, Wynn Stadium. Got a local derby happening. It's the St. George Dragons versus the Cronulla Sharks. For the Dragons, McCulloch's out. Fucking injured. Mbye's in. Burgess, he drops to the reserve. Who knows if he's actually going to play again with the recent allegations. For the Sharks, Matty Kavalu, he's on the wing. Ronaldo is out with concussions. And Talakai starting in the place of Teague Wilton, who is suspended. The Sharks are the favourites in this one after getting a win last week. $1.74. The Dragons at $2.10. The line is at 1.5 total points. We're not seeing many over 40 anymore, so this one's at 37.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'll give my thoughts. You might want to turn your Discord off. Someone's sliding in your DMs there. My thoughts, I'm still on the unders. You go on 365. I don't know if it's still there, but I got under 38.5. I know it's only half a point, but that 38 could be the difference. In fact, it's still there at the moment. It's $1.85 on Bet365. I think these two teams, the one thing they've shown since the start of the season is, whilst their attack isn't flowing necessarily for 80 minutes, Dragons can defend. Like Penrith, for example, they kept Penrith out until they had players in the sin bin. And their tries came from a charge down of kick out. Sorry, Ben Hunt. Kick out coming back in against 12. Like, you take out the sin bin and defending on their lone line, Penrith struggled. Sharks, on the other hand, same thing. They've got a new team. Fitzgibbon defensive mindset, but where they've shown is their defense. They only let 3 tries in from memory against Para. Para the week before showed they can put points on the Titans and in trial games against Penrith, and Para are a legit team. So both teams can defend. It's a local derby. It's a game where, both teams want to make the 8 this year. They know they've got to win these types of games because they know they're going to come up against, your Penrith and Melbournes and not beat them from every week, but these are the games they've got to win. So they're going to compete. So I reckon I've got under 38.5 at $1.85 on Bet365.
And I think you've got to factor in as well, if Cronulla score, what are the chances Nico kicks them, right?
Unless it's a match-winning goal, it's not going over. Even the match-winning goal, the technique was very average. He just went and stumped it.
He wasn't confident at all.
No.
And even if you see after the try was scored, he looked nervous as fuck. Everyone was celebrating the try, and he was so nervous.
And he couldn't even get ScoMo's magic fingers. Couldn't even help him over.
Yeah, maybe that's what they need. More fingers from ScoMo.
More fingers.
For me, I've gone value on this one. I think the Dragons are going to be my Warriors of 2021, where I got big raps on them. And I'm going to ride them, and I think they're going to upset a few good teams. I do like what I've seen from them so far this year. I think Ben Hunt is due for a big year, and I like the youth that they added, provided that Lomax is not injured and Ravalawa was not suspended. I think they're very threatening. They got very aggressive edges. Jack Bird, Jaden Stewart, and now Tarek Sims is starting. So I do like their back row as well. I think there's going to be a very closely contested match, but I'm taking the Dragons to win 1-12 on this one for $3.30. But that's also because I'm not convinced with Cronulla. I'm not convinced with them just yet. I think it's going to take them some time. They are slowly improving, but Parramatta weren't great last week, to be honest. Parramatta didn't really stand up. I expected a lot more from them, but they were pretty shit. Like they had a lot of opportunities to shift the ball. They didn't. Dylan Brown got tackled with the ball so many times. It's like Wonga Blake incarnate. He just chose not to pass and he took it himself. I don't know if he's chasing fantasy points as well. But even Reed Marnie's not playing that well at the moment. Out of 9, he hasn't rediscovered that hot form. Paulo, he's been almost invisible. He's a starting front rower for State of Origin. He doesn't seem like he's doing too much. Same as RTG. Like the forwards that Papali'i, I know he's got a haircut and stuff, but you don't even notice them. Like they're not standing out. The only one you see probably Sean Lane. He gets his head through a lot and he's not playing a lot of minutes, but not overly convinced with how Parramatta played. So I understand Cronulla won last week, but I don't think they played that well. I think the Dragons, in a losing effort to Penrith, played better than Cronulla did. So I'm picking the Dragons in a close one. A lot of games have been close so far this season, but $3.30, that's one of my value bets from this week.
Nice.
Now into Friday, first match at 6 p.m. Promises to be a bludger. Campbelltown Sports Stadium. We've got the West Tigers versus the New Zealand Warriors. James Tarmel returns. Jacob Little is back from injury. But Jackson Hastings, he's currently at the judiciary probably right now as we speak. To see where he gets to play. For the Warriors, they've got Cody coming back to 7 with Ash Taylor. He's out with a hip injury. I did say last week in the Warriors game, it's like Ash Taylor moves like he's 40 years old. Like he's so stiff. Like he moves worse than Kieran Foran, who has 6 fake. He's had 6 fake knees already, but Ash Taylor moves worse than him. And now it comes out that he's got a hip injury, so makes sense. In this game, the Warriors are favourites, but they're paying $1.71. I think after last week's effort, everyone's riding off the Tigers, but they're at $2.15. So pretty good odds for the Warriors. The line's only at 2.5. Totals are 38.5. You got value, or you got a $1.90 banger for us on this one?
Yeah, I've gone on Blue Bet. Warriors minus 1.5. Just came through as well. Hastings is guilty, so he's out for 3 weeks. So they're down. They're down. Hastings means it's going through Brooks, who looks like he has no idea and doesn't want to be there. It came out, he was pissed off he didn't get to go to the Knights. Players are out on the beers and playing the pokies the night before, showing just ultimate disengagement with their coach. So it's not like they're going to lift for Madge. If anything, they're going to just continue doing what they're doing. To be fair with the Warriors, I thought like against the Titans, they showed at times they were up for it. I think that
Reese Walsh looked nice though.
Yeah, they look very silky. And I think if I look at the two teams, I think the Warriors are a team that wants to win. I don't think the Tigers want to win at all. So minus 1.5, $1.90. It might go out by the time this gets out because Jackson Hastings is now officially suspended. But I think that's money. And I know it's at Campbelltown, so it's a Tigers home game, but fuck, they're awful, the Tigers. Like you think back to the end of the season last year, round 26, or round 25, when it was against the Bulldogs, when the Bulldogs beat them 30 blot. And then you come into an off season where they didn't win a game. Also, they did win a game against the Roosters, but then round 1, we're competitive against Melbourne, but then shat the bed last week. Like, it's a bad run for them, and that's not getting any better. I just think
don't bounce back. Bad teams have things happen, and they kind of stick around the shit for a while.
Yeah, for you to back the Tigers at the moment, you'd need a big line and a game where you think the opposition are not going to take them seriously and be clogged.
You need to be Robbie Farah. I think he's the only person who's going to back him.
Yeah, that's how I see it. How do you see it?
I've got it the same way, but I'm just taking the Warriors 2.5 on this one. I don't like the Tigers at all. I'm looking through the team list. I don't even like any of their players. to be honest.
Yeah.
None of them. Like, I liked Luciano last year, but he's doing nothing so far. What is it? Utoi Tikamanu?
Yeah.
He's meant to be the next Payne Haas, but he's been very quiet so far this year.
The only player who has been good is that Tuolangi, and he's injured now. He's gone.
He's gone.
Young forward Tuolangi was really good last
Yeah.
week, and he's gone. So
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the Tigers team, the Tigers coach, the way that they play. And I think now we've just, with all these headlines and the attention, that's just more pressure. And I don't think they're going to handle that very well. So, yeah, I'm taking the Warriors all day. Reese Walsh really impressed me last week. He was very silky. He seems a lot more powerful. He was always quick and fast, but I think there's a bit more strength and explosiveness around him. Shaking off a bit of rust last week, I'm sure, and he'll be back pumping. For Blake, I think he's going to be the captain this week. I got him on my fantasy, so hopefully he stands up. Curran's been killing it this year. He's a smoky to play State of Origin, so I think he'll keep doing what he's doing. But I really like, obviously we both like Jazz Tafanga and Bunty Afoa off their bench.
Yeah.
That usually comes up a lot. We do like them. But someone who's been really good is Aaron Penne from the Storm.
Yes.
He's been gliding. Like, his strides are huge. Like, he's flying around this bloke.
But there's your difference is the bench. Like, he's come off, and then you've got Tyrone Peachy who comes on and just does some dumb stuff.
He's doing it on purpose. Peachy might be promoted to the starting lineup now. Hastings is out. He might start at 6.
There's
so
a
you
very
get
good shout.
80 minutes of a Peach.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, no, really liking the Warriors. Like, this Penne Lake's that good. Ben Murdoch-Masila can't get a run.
Yeah.
And he's not bad. He's a good impact forward.
Yeah, exactly.
But once you get through that bludger of a game, if you do watch it, oh, mate, this one at a Core Stadium, South v. the Roosters. So it's a massive grudge match, 8:05. Looking at the Rabbits, Tane Milne named at centre, Paulo on the wing. Cam Murray's been named to start. I don't know why he was benched last week, but new coach, a lot of question marks. For the Roosters, we've got Angus Crichton. He's moved to the bench. Nat Butcher named on the run-on side. Connor Watson still starting at 9. Hutchison on the bench, but they could swap on the game day. They did it last time. Satilli got a head knock, failed his HI against Manly, but he's been named to play. While Joey Manu, he's expected to be okay after a niggling injury to his knee last week. Massive game, this one. When they last met, Latrell almost broke Joey's face. Big Jared was ready to hunt him down after the game. Latrell, I think he still hasn't apologized for this. And he said that he's not going to change the way that he plays. So there's going to be a lot of hype around this game. The animosity is going to be huge. I think the Roosters, they have to target him, right? Like, if it's a brotherhood, you just it'd be like when in State of Origin where Queensland were pissed, where like you just put a bomb up because I just asked him to, just so they can flog someone.
Yes.
Something like that has to go on. Like, put a bomb up and Radley or someone. I think Radley will get there first.
Victor's killing someone. It's happening.
Someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really like that. Looking at the teams, they're evenly matched. To be honest, I think Roosters probably have a slightly better halves combo, but outside of that, very similar looking teams. They match up very well. Even a lot of the players are very similar ages in their career.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a tight one. I've personally just gone the unders because I think both of these teams just can't wait to tackle. Really, they're coming here to tackle. Whether it's high or not, it doesn't matter. But there's going to be a lot of tackling. But what are your thoughts? This is one of the games I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I've gone Roosters -3.5 for $1.85 on tab, just purely because what happened at the end of the last game last time they played each other. You saw Jared Chase stalking him. That whole team would have put this in the calendar because this was originally meant to be, I believe, the game he was coming back. Latrell was meant to be coming back, I think.
But he came back early.
Came back last week. So I think this is the game that they've built, like they've been looking for too. This is what they're preparing for. I think they're just going to be ruthless. Just because of the history of the two teams, they just really don't like each other to begin with. I think, as I said, Victor is going to kill someone. That's the only concern is that Roosters have a player sent off. But I think the Roosters are going to get better as the season goes on. I think with the Rabbitohs, I'm not sure. I think Cody Walker has some real demons at the moment he's battling. So
He plays good against the Roosters, though. So
He
this might
does.
be what he needs.
This
Because
could be.
you know how he usually gets angry like once a fortnight? Like really angry, and that
Yeah.
fires him up. He hasn't even gotten angry once. He's just kind of passive, and he's given up and moping around the field. Whereas I think this type of game might waken the beast.
Good. I hope
You
he
know how
does.
he's got a try assist this year? Not one.
Yeah, no. And he's thrown an intercept. That's what we know for sure. But yeah, I think I'm taking the Roosters here. I think they'll come out and they'll just bash South.
Yeah.
I can't if I look at last week, South should never been in a position to even get close in that game. And I think Melbourne shooting up defense caught them out and gave penalties away, gave them opportunities. Whereas I think the Roosters are just going to bash South for 80 minutes here. Concede maybe 2 tries against them, but they should get the win. So
I reckon after the 20-minute mark, the intensity South won't be able to keep up once his bench comes on. Because his Roosters bench, they got Fletcher Baker, Crichton, and Jared on there. Like the intensity is not going to drop.
No. Whereas Liam Knight, Jacob Host, Havili, they're good, but
they're all right. But you need to add them to already another strong forward that's already on there and let them go off the back of them.
Yeah.
But these other ones Angus Crichton will bust the game wide open. Jared's going to lift the intensity when he gets on. Takiaho, I thought his career was close to ending last year, but he's got new life for some reason. He's playing real good. So no, I think the Roosters, the cover is also a good bet, but I'm just going to jump on the unders and enjoy the show. Into our slutty Saturday. We've got 2 undefeated teams meeting up at Carrington Park in Bathurst. We've got the Penrith Panthers versus the Newcastle Knights. Big news is that Cleary's been named somewhere within this lineup wearing jumper 24, the same jumper that Kobe Bryant wore. And Kobe Bryant was known as a warrior who played through injuries. I wonder if Nathan is the same. Brian To'o is out with a knee injury, but Taylor May is in. Not the best boxer in the world, but still undefeated. James Fisher-Harris, he's been named to play. We've been monitored throughout the week, so let's see how he goes. For the Knights, Kalen Pong is named to return. Daniel Saifidi is also back. So Mitch Barnett drops to the second row. Lachlan Fitzgibbon is out on this one. Crazy to see an undefeated Newcastle Knights team at $4. They've been playing much better than everyone expected. Jake Clifford is the luckiest half going around at the moment. He's just getting the right bounce and he's getting the energy off it. The Knights are at $4. Penrith at $1.25. The line on this one is 10.5. Total points you're looking at 39.5. What are your thoughts on this one? Where do we go? You leaning toward your boys or?
No, I've gone the unders, under 39.5, just purely because last week was a reminder of Penrith without Cleary. They're not the attacking force that people that think they are. Remember last year when Cleary was out during Origin, Penrith struggled to put points on the Tigers. So I'm backing the fact that Cleary's going to be out, but also combined with Penrith's defense is still sound enough. You know, they don't give up a lot of points. They win the ruck. They dominate that first 20 minutes. So I'm going to just take the unders under 39.5. If Cleary is going to be ruled out, which you probably will have a fair idea about Friday afternoon, you should have an idea by 3:00 because they'll cut it down to 2 players. And if Cleary's gone, you'll know by then. I think Newcastle at $4 is a value bet as well, just in chucking like a juicy multi because they're flying at the moment. Penrith are missing a lot of players. It's starting to add up. Cleary would be out. To'o would be out. Leota's out. Fisher-Harris, I don't know if he'll play. You know, you're missing his 2 starting props, your halfback and your state of origin winger. Like, that's going to start taking a toll on any team. You take those players out of Melbourne, your 2 starting props and a winger and a halfback, and Melbourne will struggle. So they do have that next up mentality, Penrith, but this is a Newcastle team who are flying. So, and they're getting players back. Ponga and Saifidi are big ins for them. So they're going to be better than they were last week. So,
it's crazy. Even Tyson Frizzell, he's playing like a monster these days.
He's scary.
Yeah. Far out. He's fresh. Dominic Young hasn't dropped the ball that much. Gagai thinks he's playing State of Origin every week. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. But no, really keen to watch that game. I'm just waiting for the moment where everyone in the public is backing the Knights again and and Joey claims them as, premiership threats, and they just shit the bed for the second half of the
That'll
season.
be this week. I'm
Pick
telling
it
you. If
too
they
early.
win this week, that'll happen.
Yeah.
And then that's why I think they'll start dropping form.
Yeah. I think
Because,
back
as much as
them.
I like him, Adam Clune isn't like a premiership quality half. Like,
No.
he couldn't crack that
Playing
Dragons
well right
team.
now.
Yeah. And
He's playing well now. It's just like punting. Like,
Yeah.
you're on a punting streak where he's like, oh, fuck, I'm so good. I might even sell my tips. That's how good I am. You just go on this little streak. But then over time, you just,
You'll
come
go,
back.
reality kicks in.
Reality kicks in, and then you wake up, and you're Adam Clune. So it has happened to us all. But yeah, I'm not so hot on the Knights as the year progresses, but I can confess that they are outperforming everyone's expectations right now. And Clifford is just getting the lucky bounce every single time. I don't know if it's a new skill he's picked up, but I don't know. He's probably sucked the skills out of Cody Walker somehow, and
yeah,
it's a bit of Space Jam. But keen for that one. Saturday's going to be great. The second game on Saturday at 5:30, Amy Park in Melbourne. It's the Melbourne Storm versus the Parramatta Eels. We've got two top 6 teams in the competition who both aren't really playing to their potential right now. Craig Bellamy is naming a very similar 17, but Harry Grant today, the news came out that he's got COVID. Is that right?
Yeah.
Tested positive for COVID. COVID symptoms. For the Eels, Nathan Brown's been promoted to the starting side. Kafusi's back on the bench. Not too many changes from the Parramatta Eels team. Looking at the odds, Melbourne favourites at $1.50. I think they've won their last 6 or 7 games at home. Parramatta at $2.60. The line is at 4.5. Total points are at 38.5 for this one. It's quite a difficult one because Melbourne just seem to be dropping players. They don't have that same spark that they've previously had. But yes, they have some great players, but they're not dominating games. Like even Hughes he's been okay every game. Not really standing up. Pappenhausen is better than he was at the back end of last year, but he's not the way he was at this time last year.
Yeah.
So he's a little bit tentative. Justin Olam, I don't know. He just doesn't have the same fire without the Fox outside him. I don't know. He's not. This Melbourne team's not clicking the way that you'd expect them to. But at the same time, it's the start of the year. They're still winning games.
Yeah,
they're just horrible to fucking back to cover the line at the moment, aren't they?
They're killers.
They're killers. But I've got an exotic for this one, but I'll allow you to go first. What's your thoughts on this game?
Just going the unders again. It's too hard to pick. As I said, last year, Para did the double over them, and they were grindy games. So both games, and again, both times last year, Melbourne were flying, running into Para, and both times nobody gave Para a chance in hell, and they got the upset twice. And they did it just through just grinding and keeping it tight. So that's what they're going to be doing again. They're not going to go out going, we can throw the ball around and outscore Melbourne, because every team has shown that to beat Melbourne, you're just going to have to beat them through the middle. So they're going to do that, I think. Harry Grant is a big out. The service isn't going to be crisp from dummy half. So then points probably aren't going to be on offer as much as they want. But I think this is, the only benefit for Melbourne is they get the extra 2 days rest and then staying in Melbourne, whereas Para played on the Saturday at Cronulla, then have to go back and then fly down to Melbourne. So a bit more travelling for them, but I think early days in the season, so it won't impact them too much. So I'm taking the unders. That's on tap.
I see it very similar. It's too close to call. Not touching the handicap on this one. But what I'm going for is either team by 8 or less at $2. I could see this being an absolute dogfight. It'll be close. If Pappenhausen kicks another field goal, we're sweet. If Moses kicks a penalty from 45 out, we're sweet. I think eight points or less for either team is a lot. Yeah. Especially the way that this competition's turning out. And everyone's projecting this game to be close. So Para 4.5, Melbourne -4.5. Like, fuck, it could be. It's one. I think there'll be one try in it, potentially less. So yeah, I think either team by 8 or less at $2 is pretty juicy for me. Now into your final game, your slutty Saturday at 7:35. It's the Canberra Raiders versus the Gold Coast Titans at GIO Stadium in Canberra. So Nick Kotrick is, or it's Chotrick, right? That's how he likes it pronounced. Chotrick.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jordan Rapana. That's how he likes it sound.
Yep. Not Rapana. Rapana. Yep.
Rapana and Chotrick. So they both return on the wings, which is pretty exciting. Brad Schneider is back in the number 7. Fuck about for all he sucked last week. I was sucking him off and everything, and he was terrible.
Terrible.
Nah, he's all beard and nothing else now. He does not deserve another crack at that. But Schneider's back in at 7 for the Titans. Holbrook's making no changes. They do have Jermaine Asako listed among the reserves, but he's unlikely to play. Bit of question marks as to why they picked up Jermaine. I guess they don't have too much depth. I think Corey Thompson is out injured, so
yeah.
But
Not sure. I still think
fullback. But
yeah, I think they got coverage. They really have to just put Brimson back there. Like,
yeah, you got AJ, but then they got Will Smith. They could slot into 6 as well,
and Will Smith can play fullback as well. Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know why they signed him. They must have some free money. I don't know how you got free money with Tino and Fafita in the team.
Tino and I don't know.
The $1 million men. But looking at the odds on this one, Canberra favourites $1.71, Gold Coast Titans at $2.15. The line on this one is 2.5. Total points, you're looking at 39.5. What are your thoughts on this one? Where does this one go?
I've gone Raiders minus 2.5. So I think it's crazy, after last week against the Cowboys. I think this season is going, as we talked about, competition's gotten closer, so things like home field advantage mean a lot more. And the Raiders that played at home against Cronulla were the different Raiders that travelled to North Queensland. And I think a lot of it, I know he wasn't outstanding, but Schneider in the halves took so much pressure off Whiten, I feel, in that first game of the season. And then when Frawley went in, he just couldn't do a job to help Whiten. And I think Whiten was trying to do a lot of it on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'm confident with the minus 2.5 because of that. And then chucking in Rapana coming back in, that back line that the Titans are running at is going to be a bit tougher to break through than what they've had in the Warriors and the Eels so far. So I think Canberra at home, I know it's not winter, but it's Saturday night in Canberra, still going to be colder than probably it is in Sydney. With that full crowd there, it would be pretty tough. So I'm taking them minus 2.5 against a team that lives on the Gold Coast. So it's going to be a bit of a change for them.
Yeah, one thing I didn't factor in is the travel. So I've gone the Gold Coast Titans 1-12, $3.30. My thought process is AJ Brimson wasn't too bad at 6, but it was his first game back, so I'm expecting him to get a lot better. Sammy, he's got his origin winger form happening at the moment, so I'm pretty impressed with how he's going. Marju is just tearing it up.
Yeah.
So he's like a young Vaduvai, in my opinion. So he's doing very well. He's peaking. Sexton, a lot of question marks, letting Fogarty go gives him the 7 full time, and he's been okay. He hasn't been great yet, so I think there's still room for him to improve. We spoke off the air about Dave Fafita doing fucking nothing. Like, he's doing nothing.
Lazy.
Surely they would have done a film session. Like, fuck, we're paying this bloke $1 million a year, and he's not doing anything. We've got to get him
slowed down, but so is it.
Yeah, we've got to get him. We've got to get him doing something. Like, he doesn't even run decoys. Like, he does nothing. Like, he's not, so I'm hoping that the coaching staff get him working this week. But the other reason I like the Titans is more so I don't like Canberra. They're still doing the whole bash attack. It's just forward. It's just constant. And the only one, like, their forwards aren't really scoring that much. Like, Corey Harry-Naranara scored, but that was the biggest fluke ever. I don't know how the fuck he scored that try last week. But that's all they're doing right now. And I think Schneider does free up Wyden a bit, but at the same time, the backs still do nothing. I had Tomoko in my bloody team on fantasy last week, and he scored like 6 points or something. He was, he did nothing. So I just don't feel like they've got a good backline, but they don't see ball.
Yeah.
They don't do any sweet plays or nothing. It's just Jack Wyden. Jack Wyden, and he doesn't do a backline play. He does a cutout pass or he runs the ball. Like he's like a big Matt Duffy. That's all he's doing. You know how Duffy just skips to the outside and then he has a cutout. That's all he does. And Wyden's very similar, just in a much bigger body. But yeah, I haven't been impressed by Canberra just yet, but I think it'll be a close game. Gold Coast on the road, question marks. Has there been some maturity? Because last year they were terrible on the road. Hopefully this year they're a little bit better, but I think it'll be a close game. So I've got the Titans there, 1-12, $3.30. Slightly regretting it because of the travel part, but my bet's already been submitted, baby. So we've got to take it. Now into the home stretch, our seedy Sunday. We got the match of the round at 4:05 at Suncorp. Brisbane Broncos with the Cowboys. Once upon a time, this was a headliner a couple of years ago. Yeah. JT running around. Kevin Walters, would you believe this? He's named the same 17-man squad.
It's a good sign.
Hasn't happened much, but the Broncos are chasing 3 straight wins for the first time since 2019, baby. All good things happen in threes, so we're a pretty good thing happening right now. For the Cowboys, Mitchell Dunn's out. Season-ending knee injury against the Raiders. Outside of that, Todd Payton hasn't made too many changes to his 17. I think the positive part for the Cowboys is the hammer is improving. He's actually much more involved. He's not just some guy who's got wheels.
Yep.
Peter Hiku hasn't been rocks yet. He hasn't had a rocky game.
Did you see the try assist? What he did? Just kicked, like the ball dropped, just kicked it on the floor. Yeah. Like that's diamonds.
It's all diamonds, baby.
Ball drops on his foot, just kicks it on the full instead of going, I'm not going to try to pick it up. Grab it through.
Yeah. Val Holmes, defensively as a center, he's been great. He's not attacking, but defensively, Val Holmes has been fantastic. I can almost guarantee Kyle Felt does his robo shit and scores some weird try in the corner or in the air. But Jeremiah Nanai, fuck, he's an absolute weapon, that guy. I thought Hilam Lukey was like their best young forward coming through, but that Nanai, he's going to be very good. I rate him. And they got JT at 13. And he played so much better last week than the previous week when they had him at prop. So, pretty scary Cowboys outfit. But for some reason, Broncos, $1.50 favorites, Cowboys, $2.60. The line is 5.5. Total points are at 39.5. Looking at the Broncos, Reynolds was steady. But that's all they needed him to be, was to be steady. The biggest issues the Broncos had last week was a lot of penalties. Gave away a lot of penalties, and they dropped heaps of balls. None of that had anything to do with Reynolds. Wasn't his pass. People were just dropping balls all over the joint. The Broncos' right side is dynamic. Staggs and Cobbo, very quiet last week, but still managed to make a lot of errors. Herbie had a cracking game. So hopefully he continues to fire. Tessie was good in his return. Payne Haas, an absolute freak. Capewell hasn't missed a tackle in 3 years. Carrigan is the perfect backup to Payne Haas. Billy Walters, playing hooker off the bench, was absolutely brilliant. So really pleased with him. Ryan James continues to get a spot in the team. I don't know how. And Kobe Hetherington, the best 13 that we have, but he starts on the bench, so Patrick Carrigan can make some more meters. So, the line on this one's 5.5. I don't like it that much because I think it could be closer than that. But me being a tragic, I'm taking my boys, and I don't have to give anyone an explanation as to why. You are the voice of reason when it comes to Broncos matches. What are your thoughts on this one?
I'm with you. -5.5. Honestly, I've been impressed with the Broncos so far. Whilst they did drop a bit of ball, it was raining, and the only thing was they were allowing Burton 20 minutes to line up and put a bomb that went a kilometre in the air. So they got to learn that you can't give the quality halves that much time, because if they gave Cleary that much time, he'll kick them like he did in the grand final. He'll kick you in the corner all day and you won't get out. But Dearden and Townsend aren't Matt Burton boots. No. So they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah,
I thought Reynolds
over and under boys. That's what they are. Over and under.
Yeah. Reynolds was steady. I was like, maybe not 100% fit. I don't know. He wasn't exploding, but his first game, so we'll forgive for that. But he was solid, and that's what they needed. They just needed someone to steer them around. I think they'll take the -5.5. Similar points I made before. I think home field advantage is big this year. Look what you guys did in your first game against South. You covered that line against them. So,
Crushing.
and I think Cowboys aren't as good as South. So I'm not buying into the last week against Canberra, as I said before, because the week before against the Bulldogs, it was
Yeah,
an
they were
absolute
trash.
bludger. And if from a fantasy point, if you guys followed fantasy, that Cowboys team, not one player had like 50 points in fantasy. You talk about Nanai, how good a beast he was. He missed like 9 tackles last week.
Yeah. He only scored I thought he'd had a killer game, but he had like 28.
He was on 2 points with 15 to go before he scored that try. He was missing a lot of tackles, and I've looked at that Broncos team, and yes, he's good in attack, but you got to make tackles, and that's why I think -5.5. I think Broncos will get the dub.
Yeah, Nano will be lining up on the same side as Herbie Farnworth. So if he's as dangerous as he was last week, and Corey Oates keeps running obstructions, mate, we'll score a lot of tries. We'll score a lot. But I'm pretty keen for that. Great way to end the week. Probably because I've been wearing my Broncos jersey again. Got the spirit of the gods supporting the boys. So
Not be bullied.
Let's see how we go. -5.5. Take them. Your final game of the round, which is usually one of the worst games of the round. And I actually might agree with that statement. We see the Bulldogs versus the Manly Seagulls at 6:15 at 4 Pines Park. I'll still be tuning in. For the Eagles, Des has thus stuck with the same 17 that went down on the Roosters. No, they didn't go down. They went down to them, Went down to the Roosters last week. Dylan Walker got a head knock, but chances are he'll be right. Josh Alloway still serving his suspension. For the Bulldogs, very much the same team who played last week, but we see Tavita Pangai lining up on the edge. They got Pangai and Hetherington walking suspensions.
I thought Pangai was going to get suspended for sure last week.
He was trying to.
He was even on the bench. He was stalking. I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, he's so big.
He's scary.
Because he's a scary human. He's so.
I want him back at Penrith.
He's got crazy in his eyes.
He does.
Like him and Jake Trbojevic, scariest guys in the comp, and they match up this week. So there's gonna be some bangers. But Jack Hetherington's been a bit quiet because Tavita's there. Hetherington's like, I'm not the craziest motherfucker here anymore. Like,
no, and he can't stop a dropout though. That one.
I'm just gonna play footy. Yeah, but you see one of Herbie's tries, how fast Hetherington was chasing him down.
Yeah,
he's got some wheels.
He's got wheels on him.
Yeah, so that was quite impressive. Dufty, he's always skipping on the outside. Adokar, as we thought, he's not really doing anything. He's getting so many raps though, like the commentators,
because of his talk and because he's got a Fox Sports. He's got a Fox Sports deal as well. That's a lot.
Oh, he does. So. Yeah. Well, they're talking him up a lot, but he's not doing anything.
He's scoring.
Yeah, he's not scoring. He's not making a lot of meters.
Yeah,
he did tackle Jordan Ricky over the sideline, but.
That was Ricky's fault. Ricky should have going outside.
Yeah,
he should have come back in every day of the week. That was so dumb.
That was so dumb. I reckon I could have taken him out because he was running towards the sideline.
He was going that angle. Just had to push him that way.
So, but Matt Burden, his kicking is crazy. His ball running is crazy, but we knew that already. Hasn't shown what he's like with a bit of sleight of hand yet. Averillo, very quiet because Burden's doing everything that Averillo was doing last year. And in the forward pack, it's all just been quite solid, really. Nothing's standing out. Thompson doing what he does. Vaughan doing what he does. Josh Jackson is not doing anything, really. So no real standouts. They're a bit bland, the Bulldogs. The most exciting thing is watching Matt Burden kick. So, and if, you were excited by that, you might as well just watch AFL. If that's not going to get you off. But looking at Manly have been extremely underwhelming. You have reason to believe Turbo's probably injured.
Yeah, he wasn't. If you watched last week, particularly the first half, again, this is sober Luke watching. There was a set there, I think their first set inside Roosters half, where he didn't touch the ball once in the 5 tackles. And then there was one of the tries of Roosters scored in the corner. He didn't seem to get across at all to cover it, like not even make an attempt to put the player into touch. So I'm going to guess it's injury as opposed to effort, because I think he does want to win every time and he's a competitor. But he didn't look 100% in that first half, in particular last week.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem as motivated to me as well. I think he's probably. I don't know if he's thinking like, why do I have to fucking do everything? Like at some point it gets to that. Like,
True,
why do I have to do everything and you pricks just fucking lose anyway? But I do think for the Eagles, for Manly, so their forwards have lost the battle every week. Like their forwards suck right now, especially like when Tapau comes off because he doesn't play big minutes. Tapau, Marty's putting a lot of effort in. He comes off and they suck.
In
Paseka
the
was
first
really
half
good
last week, I think Marty Tapau had one run in the first half or something. It was like him and I can't remember the other forward was. They barely ran the ball.
Sean Kepi, Sean Kepi had a lot of good shots. He's tackling very well, but they're not making meters.
No.
Ola Kawatu's not been dangerous. Bullimore seems like he's falling over a lot. Like he catches it and it looks like he's falling over. But he was playing as a backup prop last year. Very simple. Now he's playing on an edge.
Yeah.
I don't think his timing's right there. And Jake doesn't run that much. He likes to pass the ball, but he's passing. Your forwards are getting beat up. There's just nothing really happening. Cherry Evans isn't doing too much but kicking the ball. Foran's putting an effort in, but he's 5 years too old for this right now.
Yeah.
And the rest of their backline are being exposed because none of them are really that good. Saab, Parker, Harper, Garrick, none of them are really that good.
No. That's how they can afford Cherry Evans. Until they have to pay Morgan Harper as your centre.
Yeah. They are all below average in their positions. So you could argue the Bulldogs have better wingers and centres.
I'd argue that. I'd say if you took that Dogs winger and centre positions, Saab maybe over Ockenball, but Burns would take Parker's spot. You'd have Naden instead of Harper, and you'd definitely have O'Carr instead of Garrick. Yeah.
So, but when you look at the line on this one's 10.5 points. Manly, your favourites are $1.25. Canterbury at $4. Total points are 38.5. What are you thinking? Close this motherfucker out. What do you got?
I had two plays here I looked at, and I tossed and turned. So I had the unders, and then Manly minus 10.5. And I'm going Manly minus 10.5, just purely on the back of their first two games. They had to go to Penrith on a Thursday night and play Penrith in the first game at home and won the comp, and then they had to play the Roosters at the SCG after the Roosters were embarrassed the week before. So they've played two teams.
You're giving benefit of the doubt here.
I'm giving benefit of the doubt here, and I still think they are a good team. I still think they're a flat track bully, and they're going to be the same as last year. And they're going to come up against a team in the Dogs who, they've been good, but they've only scored 3 tries this year. They scored 1 against the Cowboys and hung on, and they scored 2 last week in a very bludger of a first half. And if it wasn't for, Burton's boot putting them up in the air, they would never have near the field position they should have had anyway. So I think also Turbo is going to be better on the high ball, but I think they're going to go to Saab's side maybe with the kicks. But I think under the Burton bomb, those back three are much better under it as well. So I'm going minus 10.5. I think this is the game where Manly wake up and all of a sudden people talk about Manly again. But then until Manly play a good team and realize that they're flat track bullies, that's what they're going to be labelled with. So I'm taking the minus 10.5. The unders I was confident, but I'm worried Manly blow an explosion. Yeah, Turbo could score 3 tries. Everyone talks about how good he is again.
Yeah,
that was my only worry about it. Otherwise, either or, but I'm taking the minus 10.5.
I'm taking the opposite. I'm taking the plus 10.5. I'm taking the Dogs. I'm not going to have faith in Manly until I see it. I do understand they have come up against 2 difficult matchups to start the year. But the Bulldogs aren't the same team that they used to be. Their attack is still shit. I will attest to that. And they will stay shit until Barrett leaves. But defensively, they are all in. I'm really happy with how they have been defending as of late. I like their forwards a lot better than the Manly forwards at the moment. So I can see Bulldogs having better field position for most of this game, struggling to score. So I also like the unders as well. I think they'll have more field position. I think it'll be difficult for them to get points. I don't see them scoring any more than 3. 3 points is massive for the Dogs. If they get 3, we're on here. But I also don't see Manly scoring more than 3 either. I think it'll be close. I think we'll see both teams score under 20 in this one, and that 10.5 is huge. If that's the type of scoreline I'm projecting it to be, that 10.5 could be difficult to cover. I think for the Dogs, if hopefully they learn to chase Burton's kicks. The kick chase is terrible. They don't chase them.
You imagine the ones that they did catch. Imagine if you had a bit of pressure on them. Then they might drop those ones as well. Then the other ones they drop, being there and be able to pick up the ball will be a big thing.
Yeah.
get
Like,
the zero tackle, quick
Addo
play the
Carter
ball.
chase these kicks. He's on the same side as Burden as well.
Yeah, just
Like,
put pressure on. Doesn't even have to contest them. Just put pressure on.
Addo Carter just needs a fucking fresh haircut. He looks homeless at the moment. It's not serving him well. He needs a fast haircut. He needs to chase these Burden bombs, and some magic can happen. Like, even like Dufty hasn't thrown a long ball yet. He's skipping to the outside and he's too afraid to make errors. But their attack stinks. Yeah. Someone's going to try something.
Agree.
They're doing 5 hit-ups and then bombing it. They're not doing anything. So hopefully we see a little bit of something. But it's the Bulldogs forward pack is key to me. And they've got these lunatics on the edges. Like Bullamore's been playing on the left. Whoever's on the right, whether it's Jack or Tavita, they're going to give him headaches and nightmares. So pretty keen to see a lot of bashing going on out on the edges. But look, that wraps up today's ep. Let's cut this shit short. We've got to get out of here. We've got things to do. We've got bets to place. If you're a fucking lunatic like me, I'll put a $10 bonus on my bets. It's only $539 odds. Let's go, baby. Let's see how we go. You're dropping $100 with every one of your legs. We'll share those winning slips when they come off. I'm sure we'll get more than 6 this week. Yay. Probably not the Canterbury one. But thanks for listening. Join the Discord if you haven't. Follow us on our socials. If you don't want to, go fuck yourself. Thank you for listening. Let's go. Cue the music.